it keeps all of the stuff in your field of view. I think if you have precision eyesight, it's probably better to have it all in one place. You know, minimize the amount of movement.
I think it's just what you're used to because of playing in PC bunks,
100%,
right?
Absolutely, 100%. I don't
Where
think it really.
The precision eyesight.
I'm just like making stuff up. That's all we're here for.
Well, I trust you blindly. Why would you do that to me?
Because you trust me blindly, and you shouldn't do that. Sometimes you need to get punished for being dumb. T1 going to be taking away the Talia here first. The Vi going to be removed. No changes actually in the bans thus far. Azir should be going away. Then it would be a Rumble ban, and then Gwen to follow up if we are just going to have a repeat of game number 1. Could indeed be the case, and I don't expect any change from the Rumble ban. I think that, oh, never mind. Okay, so the Yasuo are going to be taken away instead. Now it's KT that bans the Rumble, and T1 locks the Gwen, right?
I would imagine, because you can trade, but that is a matchup that can really snowball heavily. Okay, so they're going to go for the trade instead. So this should be a Rumble, and then Perfect's going to lock the Gwen.
Oh, Doran's he's going to pick Gwen, man. I can feel it in my waters.
I really think it should be Rumble.
It should, 100%. I don't deny that.
The team fights were such a big sticking point last game, and as good as Gwen is, I think Rumble in the team fights just provides a consistency that's hard to match. Skarner is so up as well. That's a combo that we've seen often. So is Rel.
Oh,
and
this
it seems
dangerous.
Like it's also, I'd argue, Perfect's best champion, but Atlas had the read. It is the Gwen priority to come through here. But I'm with you. I think that this coming through is not a surprise, but I think it should have been Rumble.
Yeah, it's not a surprise, but it's also not something that's going to make us feel fantastic. There aren't that many battle junglers still left up, right? Like Nocturne's there, I guess, but oh, never mind. This is a battle jungler. This would be a different option. As the Nidalee, to be considered at least, probably not going to be coming in alongside the Rumble that we kind of knew was going to happen here. Oh God, it's Rumble Jarvan, isn't it?
Jarvan will be amazing, but I think Jarvan, this early, you generally don't want to go towards. If you pick a jungler earlier, I think it's Skarner, which isn't exciting, but Trundle's out of the pool because he's banned currently.
True. You
and
could
Skarner's
also,
great.
You could Sedge at this point at the same
works
time.
As well. Sedge Rumble is fine. It's just the Skarner specifically. I just love that combo. Instead, it's going to be the Varus, and with Doc Dom's performance in last game, I think giving him a prior pick is warranted.
Yep, I would agree. And
so,
this actually
it's got to be Sejuani, right?
This is kind of insane because it sets KT up for a potential Alistar on 3.
Could be.
Which might put some pressure on T1 to lock that one down early. Like, Jhin Alistar wouldn't be a surprise to me if they do just... Wait a second. Yeah, no, we were busy just watching this draft over and over before. I'm just kind of cheating. But Oner is hovering it at least for the moment.
Jhin makes
they
sense.
will lock it in.
Only downside of Jhin is that we have seen if you're playing into Rumble and you set up a node a little bit too early, Rumble can cook you, take half your health bar, and not have you really get any value out of your shots.
Okay.
This is, it's fine. The Nocturne, it does mean that Dokdam's game is going to be quite tough to actually play out. The Ahri priority would be interesting to me here because Xin Zhao and Wukong are both gone.
Yeah, like Cuz's Viego is still there, something that he has really liked, but the champion isn't really that good at this point in time.
That said, when looking at Viego comps, these three champions...
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That could be actually a good shout. Sejuani, I think, is still the obvious one, but in that case, it doesn't look quite as promising, right? Like, it's fine, but not nearly as exciting. I wouldn't have minded it for T1, actually. As the Alistar on 4 here seems like a no-brainer. If you ban Sylas, which I do think you're going to do, right? That's something that Faker could go towards. That would both pair well with the Nocturne, diving deep into the enemy backline, and also it means that if you do R4 Alistar, it's going to be a really tough thing to deal with that ultimate. I like the Kench ban, actually. That's a good shout.
Yeah, kind of caught me off guard there just a little bit, wanting to put on as much pressure as they can.
He's been slowly climbing up in prio again.
Yeah. I was thinking that they'd probably aim towards some jungle bans, but focusing Peter here, who was a linchpin as far as the engage was concerned in the first game, makes a lot of sense. One last ban to come through here for KT. They might continue to focus on the mid lane.
Could also ban Orianna.
Yeah, I think Orianna, Sylas, both of them, good options. I was actually thinking Orianna, Sylas were going to be the bans, but then the Annie does come through as there is the Poppy to be removed.
So now you slam Alistar here, surely. Seems like a no-brainer. Sylas is out of...
I mean, it's Peter's cow, man.
Yeah, Like, oh, look at his face! He's like, wait.
That's a happy Peter.
I get to play it, and the Annie is a pick of old. I think Annie is also one of the champions that really benefits from playing with a Nocturne, because Annie makes great use of the chaos that Nocturne creates. Now, Akali is a pick that can have incredible impact, but the execution needs to be very crisp, and this is a T1 composition that, depending on what form they're in, could look either devastating or completely fall apart, right? Like that is the reality that we're dealing with here, because these champions, I think, you can see easy scenarios where it works together. You have the backline dive, Jhin sets up, Nocturne goes in.
Oh god, is he gonna play Pyke? It's not. No, surely not.
It's like Rel. You need some form of engage to follow up with the Rakan. Yeah, Rakan will be good as well.
Thank
Rakan
goodness.
Makes sense.
I saw that little grin on his face, and I was like, oh no, don't tell me. No, he's going to play J4. It was going to be J4.
Into Jhin, I like it. Jhin, Nocturne, both of those can kind of struggle.
And there it is.
J4 is just so damn good. The 2v2 is also very good, very strong. And it's, as you said, the combination. Jarvan Rumble, that one goes way back. KT just how do they get this on the red side? Obviously, I think the Akali.
I think you and I, in that game, were also saying, well, this could be questionable. We don't necessarily know. And then he just won. Let's see whether they can do it again. So jump into the rift.
KT, 하나, 둘, 셋.
Man, I am proud of the KT fans. They are trying their very best to match the loudest fandom in the history of esports. And they are doing a decent job.
We're talking about real-world volume, not online volume, right? There might be some that match, Atlas. I'm just saying.
No one can, that's not even conceptually possible, okay? Don't talk about silly things like that. I'm talking about here, right now, in this stadium, okay? That's the volume that's being matched.
So looking at the rune setups, nothing too surprising. Peter going for the phase rush, so going heavy in the playmaking. We also see Dokdam with the Comet, signifying that he's going to play from way back, which is a good call, because trying to walk up and auto attack any of Akali, Gwen, or Nocturne will lead to certain death.
Yep.
So definitely, and also makes fighting for mid lane prio a lot easier.
Also makes playing around the Rumble extraordinarily powerful.
Oh yeah.
With the fact that you can do so much damage in such a short time with the lethality Varus as well as the Rumble, and you can hold them on the equalizer as well.
Get way more ults with the amount of ability haste that you get. Keria going for Spellbook. Tech we've seen more and more on champions that aren't really tied to a specific rune.
That was a headbutt going in just as we left, but obviously nothing happened. Otherwise, Jonas Strong would have gone back there. As BDD being aggressive, this is what we expect in this lane. You're watching, Faker trying to pick up minions underneath his turret. That doesn't mean he's doing badly. That means he's playing Akali into an Ahri in this early game. 5-point strike going to help him clear out these minions underneath the turret. And he has done very, very well on this pick specifically, navigating early games and staying pretty competitive.
Yeah, it is just a hard matchup. It's why you go Fleet, why you go Resolve second, and why you go Doran Shield. So that is just inevitable until you hit 6, when you do get a little bit more. But that being said, you also still need to be very careful. This is often a game of inches, and you're just trying to get as much CS as you can. You're trying to just stay above the window where BDD can just go in, right, for a big play if you get a little bit too low. And Faker's laning has unfortunately not been amazing. I think we saw it even in the last game. His team fighting definitely up to par on the Victor. Yeah. But the laning just hasn't been going quite as well.
I think a lot of that has to go down to BDD laning incredibly well.
In this specific matchup, it's also,
This matchup is also hard, but I think that it's a perfect time to talk about the fact that BDD has really found a whole lot of form as he finds an electrocute proc there as well. Keria is here in the top lane, as him and Gumayusi have gone for a pretty early swap, 3.5 minutes, about as early as you see here in these games. And so Cuz, he's going to be taking himself a crab. Let's see where the Jarvan is going to go. Of course, you can be ganking at any time on this champion, and he could potentially look for an avenue in.
He needs to be BDD needs to find a charm. Like, Faker needs to be a little bit lower. Might just go for an invade. And yeah, Faker kind of spots him out. It's just going to be a trade. Trying to set behind a Nocturne is always going to feel great because obviously he's so tied to his level 6 spike. But Oner ahead of the curve on that one, and going to be fine. As we do now have Peter also in the area to help out Perfect.
Yep, so it's not going to be quite a match of the lane swap as the Barret is kept towards that bottom side. And there is also a Jarvan down there as well. Keria on a ward, Deadly Flourish just going to hold the cow in place. I think that KT should be able to at least clear out this wave. Will Oner stick around to try and challenge for this next one is going to be the question, as he does clear out that ward.
Yeah, with Nocturne, it's just not...
And
really
also,
if
you give away your position as well, makes the top side of the map very dangerous.
I did get... I think Keria gave him the ward, but it's... Oner's just full clearing, right? Just wanting to get to level 6 as soon as possible.
Yep.
Because it's the one that has a little bit more pressure on him to make early plays. But Jarvan isn't really the type of champion that falls off necessarily. I think he just has this very smooth power curve throughout the entirety of the game. Really, the biggest thing you can do is go for like the early cheese ganks, right? One of the few junglers that can still level 2 gank. A lot of the ones that could have been taken out of the game. Remember Camille Jungle?
Yep.
Well, back when you could hookshot Scuttle, and Scuttle had a shield, and then when you stunned it, the shield went away.
Yep. That champion won Invictus Gaming a world championship.
It did.
I remember that.
That did happen. One of the best skins of all time.
Indeed.
Probably the best skin
I mean, it's
of
the
all
best.
time.
It's the best skin line of all time as far as those like the world skins.
Yep.
I don't think much compares to IG.
No, you have like I think you have individual champions on some other ones.
Oh, that's true. Some of the TPA skins are pretty good.
I love the
TPA Shen.
Dom1 Jin.
That is
that one is. And
Dom1 Nidalee is also pretty amazing. It's also the only Nidalee skin that we really know about because it's the only one any of our Nidalee players play. Which does, it shows you a thing or two.
We gotta pay tribute. So we do have a early Drake already being taken by KT. Their objective control remains in place. Now this is kind of a no-brainer because T1 swapped towards the top side as we have a dive imminent here onto Doran who does not have flash. We'll see if he's able to vacate. Looks like he might be too slow. Oh,
yeah,
boy.
The Equalizer in perfect position. There's Headbutt Pulve. He's chained CC, but he does get a decent exhaust onto the perfect champion as the teleport comes in. Doctom trying to keep the damage down. The Keria with that unsealed spellbook just going to get KT out of here. But now 4 versus 2, a possibility for a redive.
They have to dive, kind of, because top lane is just getting hammered. Oner's Hero Volt! The counter dive is ready!
Yeah, the Paranoia set up, and KT, they don't even know that he's here just yet. There's the Paranoia going down. They catch them underneath the turret as Doran. So low, but he keeps himself alive! And Doctom going to be taken out. The flash is immediate after Cuz as Oner gets on over there. The headbutt to try and save the Jarvan. They might be able to do that, but it is still a lost play for KT unless BDD can make something happen. And he almost does here as there's the flash forward. The flash away from Faker, and he keeps himself up.
Goes in.
Can he look for it? Can he actually find the 1v1? It's now BDD. He needs to avoid that one, the last auto, and BDD makes it happen.
Oh, if Faker hits that E!
Oh, there was so many iffy hits that's in that moment. My God. In the end, it was BDD that just hit enough.
It's still T1 that finds the out trade because of the top side play, but BDD salvages that situation a little bit as here. KT feel pressed into this because top side is a disaster. There's no one there to answer the wave. But Doran doesn't even get hit by the flag and drag. Oner in perfect position, the pre-smite, and then Cuz sees his hero arrive as Peter ensures your friendly neighborhood cow keeps him safe. And then here, oh my God.
That charm.
Catches him mid-hop, takes him out. And then here, BDD goes in, tries to take him down with the flash. Then Faker, he goes back in. He goes back in with the level up timer. Think that's enough.
Oh,
and if that E hits,
if that backflip hits, he just gets like, it's another one of the Faker outplays. That would have been another one, but just doesn't quite find it. As you can see, T1 fans reeling after that one. But man, like, that was BDD doing, like at the beginning of that play, hitting everything perfectly. He misses like one skill shot towards the end and Faker's like, all right, I got you. He didn't quite, but man, you can just see how incredibly close it is every time you go for these outplays, these 1v1s. So, 1 for 1. First blood going over to T1 towards that bottom side, though, is very important. And playing around this Gwen, Doran's Gwen has fallen really far behind and still managed to carry throughout this year. So, the fact that he is now ahead with that assist in pocket as well, certainly a good feeling here for the T1 top laner. As a charm going to hit max range here onto Faker. Another electrocute proc from BDD.
That moment right there, by BDD still part of the Elite Four.
Oh, yeah.
Had obviously a tumultuous year. We always go back to it, but hasn't been an issue for him recently. Now, grubs are being taken here. We might have another team fights on our hands. Peter has his ultimate, so does Oner.
Yep, first two already taken. Paranoia comes on through here as the cow trying to defend the rest of his team. The pulverize is good. The Paranoia does nothing. Oner's just going to be taken out. Another kill for BDD. A cataclysmic engage from Cuz as Faker has got into the shroud. Keria looking to get out of there with that added mobility. And that is almost Faker taken down.
The arrow.
Piercing arrow. And it's Keria that's the target, and Doctom doesn't quite find it. Will cancel the back there from Keria, but that could have been way worse for T1.
I think Peter even healed there to try and get Doctom the movement speed so he could get in and land the shot. Wasn't quite enough, but T1, Keria didn't have ult. One of your biggest tools is that Rakan.
All right.
And the power he provides in actually locking down the target. But instead, we go in on Doctom and we don't even take him down. Again, I think support ults are such a big deal. The fact that Peter has his available means that he can go in here. They immediately go on to Oner, who doesn't quite sync up with Faker and Keria. Guma, the bullets don't really do that much, and T1 should count themselves lucky that both these members get out, because with just a little more damage or just an arrow could have been the difference maker. And now KT basically uneven gold, and it's in light of last game where the KT team fighting was just better. Now part of that was the draft, but it makes me worried for T1, and we do know, don't be a 2-game Andy after yesterday's series, right? We're not gonna get ahead of ourselves. And T1 still have a shot, but this is another one of those drafts where if it doesn't work, it's gonna feel really, really rough.
Certainly will. And one of the things that already feels rough is the fact that BDD has above, or actually pretty even to a 1,000 gold lead that Malignant's already done.
Oh, that's big.
The item advantage is kind of massive.
No counter gank opportunity, they know.
Yeah, Perfect.
Wait.
Yeah, I think Perfect gets a bit of an idea.
He doesn't have his ult, so he can't just clear the wave. Might have to drop it and leave.
Oh god, this is so scary.
Peter. Peter's on the way. Again.
Gotta clear this one out.
Oh.
Yeah, Peter getting into position, and they decide that they're going to pull the trigger. The flash still available here as the exhaust. It goes down. The charm is decent, and Gumayusi going to be able to lock down the kill. My god, the turret does so much damage now that it's charged up. The Cuz is going to trade it for a dragon. And BDD is still pushing here towards the bottom side. Doctom unanswered here in the mid lane as well. It's probably kind of okay, as Peter is just going to continue persuading Faker from taking plates.
Kind of depends on what the soul is going to be, whether KT feels good about that or not, because that is more gold going into their coffers.
It's a mountain.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yep, we're okay with that.
That's into Jin, Kali.
I mean, the first two Drakes were Chemtech Ocean. Like, what? They can only get good stuff.
I'm trying to look like... I think Mountain is almost as good as it gets. Like Inferno and Hextech are obviously still ahead, but it's better than Cloud. I know you love Cloud, but
no, I can see it.
Into Jaina Kali, even into Nocturne, I think you get a ton of value out of that. It's perfect. Might be in trouble here. Carry on the way.
Let's see what he can do here. No flash available, as he'll just get knocked up and will get taken down. No scrap shield. Well, actually did have it, but it's just not going to be able to do enough there. Snip, snip goes Doran. Cuz gets here a little bit late. Flags and drags, gets himself out. So that is Feats of Warfare over to T1. The answering feats of strength did actually happen here for KT already with their objectives that they have managed to take down. So whoever gets that first turret is going to upgrade some shoes.
We're just dropping waves left and right. Now this top wave is just going to get pushed in by Faker. No one able to answer it. It's going to be at least a plate, because that plate is about to drop. But before Perfect is back, might be an opportunity for Faker to shove in the next wave and get another.
It's looking a bit dangerous as KT, they at least have some control of this mid lane. Gumayusi has been catching waves in here for quite some time, but he's Jin. Like, this is what you want to be doing in the mid game. You want to free up your support to allow him to roam around. Keria's been doing exactly that. as BDD down towards the bottom side holds onto that lead that he has. They haven't been able to push this advantage, and especially the item spike that he managed to pick up. T1 have just avoided fighting around where BDD is.
The continued sideline impact of T1 has been their biggest advantage in this series. Even in game one, I think they're overloading on side, sending over Oner, sending over multiple people to catch these individual members of KT. I say members, it's really just kind of been perfect.
Yeah.
Part of that is just him being a top laner. Part of that is, I think, particularly like the play on bot side just now, that one feels a little bit more out of left field, but the top one was very telegraphed, right? In hindsight, probably should have just dropped the wave, left and waited for Peter, because if Peter is there from the beginning, might have been playable. But despite that, T1 haven't been able to really get ahead in gold. And those two Dragons Atlas, to me, they weigh heavily. Because KT's comp, I think, in team fights functions quite well without too much setup. And for T1, you got to get at least one flank angle off. Nocturne helps, but that alone is not enough.
No, not quite. And we haven't really seen, like, what KT really wants to do with this composition. You want to be layering Cataclysm and Equalizer together, Chains of Corruption over the top right. It is a wombo combo composition with BDD able to clean up.
Fight.
All right, let's see how this one goes. As Keria going in, does find out that there is a control ward in that brush. Doesn't get any more information really. Doran shows up to the battlefield. And the Gwen, we need to keep our eyes on her. She's going to be such a problem for KT. Piercing arrow coming down is now Doran looking to start off the fight. The exhaust comes through, but Doran not really getting too much done. Is now so deep his Oner, but he takes down the Varus and flashes away. There's that Cataclysm we were talking about, but they've lost so much of the damage. There it is from Faker, finds the ulti, but doesn't go in on the backflip towards Cuz. Didn't want to sacrifice himself, and in fact, they've got their pick. They're happy with it.
Got the pick on Doctor, this Varus. It's a nigh unplayable game. Doran finds him first. Oner knocks it down. Now, KT will be able to answer towards the bot side of the map, but more gold going into the pockets of T1. Herald also possibly giving them the opportunity to set up for a mid lane turret take.
Yeah.
That's good, but it's still, I'd argue, a relatively even trade, right? Like, yes, it was nice.
I mean, it's feats of strength going over to KT with that first turret.
KT could have TP'd perfect in, but instead they made the call to just go for the turret. And I want to look at how Cuz survives here, because starts over with Doctor, the exhaust comes through, Doran basically murders him, and then obviously Oner is able to very easily get the kill. Good flash from him to not get locked down, and then Cuz goes in, doesn't quite find it. I think Faker there doesn't hit the ult. If he hits the ult, he just dies. Can't go in on the flip, as you highlight, because if he does go for the flip, then there's two champions that can interrupt him, and he probably just ends up going down.
Yeah, it's just a 1-for-1, and maybe the 1-for-1 is fine, but it's also completely okay just to walk away. So Doctor trying to take some pot shots here in the mid lane, both him and Gumayusi with similar jobs in this game. But looking like it's a lot more difficult for Doctor at this point in time, especially with the fact that Oner does have the just Varus doesn't play the game button.
Yeah, that
feels a little unfair.
Now the upside for KT is that they do have a lot of threats on their comp, but if they keep falling further behind, and like we have this Fed Gwen, we have Gumayusi that is hard to get to unless you fully commit. These fights are not going to look good. Both perfect, and Doctor are pretty far behind, and we need to see this actual combo of the Equalizer and the power in teamfights it has to be used.
They're going in. They're going to find the angle once again. As yep, Doctor not allowed to play the game. As once more, Keria goes forward, finds a quickness one more time. The Equalizer this time is going to come in to pulverize on top as they take down Doran, but it's a 2-for-1. KT still fighting uphill, and there is a stun on a BDD, locking him down. He gets under the turret. That is still a man advantage here for T1, and a Dragon free for the taking.
And the heroics from Peter means that the fight isn't a blow-up, but T1 still so happy with that. Doctor again focused down immediately. So much backline access there, but this one also kind of felt like he was just out of position. If it's just Oner getting on top of you, not all you can do is a possible retake angle. I'm kind of wondering whether they want to go for this, but feels like, yeah, it's already too late. They seem to realize as well, so maybe just looking for the shove. And a bait with Peter waiting in the brushes here, but it doesn't look like T1's going to fall for it.
Yeah, it's still funny business happening.
Oner.
They're going to see whether they can lock down Oner, as he's not going to get charmed up. That's a great spell shield to make sure that he survives. And so, yeah, it was cheeky, it was cute, but it didn't quite work out. Okay, you can see, though, there is still some fight in KT, and a 2,000 gold lead is not going to be able to win you the game.
I think he wants to position safely, and he will generally die in these fights, but you can't be that far up when there's no protection. You need to be behind your team, regardless of where T1 is, right? You need to be on the other end, and then Peter here does a good job of mitigating, but T1 at this point have already won the team fight. Yeah. Taken out the Rumble before he can really do too much, taken out the Varus. And these fights looking way better for T1. That's the soul point denied. And these mid-game fights looking so much cleaner compared to game number 1.
And we're really, like, this is what you want to see out of a blue side team. That first pick finding you the value.
Oh, yeah.
And they've been playing around Doran. He's been able to get the work done. And even though he got taken down in the last fight, he got so much value for it. Yeah, this is not the value for KT, although a lot of movement speed, even though he's pretty scared, still not going to be enough to save the Rumble. Goes to 0 and 4.
And this is kind of the issue you get to as a top laner. And for Perfect, this might end up being a really defining moment for is he able? Because right now, this game, you just got to be an equalizer button accepted. Can he bounce back in the next game? Because at this point, there's nothing you can do. Like Gwen's fed, Nocturne's fed. You will just get chained over unless you fully sack the wave. It might have been the better call, but I think that's kind of a lost situation. But I keep going back to that play where Peter was coming top. They kind of knew that the dive was imminent. Dying there is, I think, what started a lot of this snowball. That's when Doran started getting fed. And KT, not out of it fully yet, but I think T1 are feeling a lot better about the position that they're in this game. And I do want to say that trying to do an overzealous Otacon can still get them in trouble, but as long as they don't do that, they're side laning pressure with a fed Nocturne. Kind of disgusting, Atlas, because we haven't talked about the 1-for-1 that much yet. But now's as good a time as any.
Yeah, the Akali Gwen are going to win in side lanes against anyone that KT has. There it is. There's that conversation that we were going to have about that one as, what? Doran just died to Krugs because he felt like it. That's what just happened. He just died to Krugs because he felt like it. Do you want that again? He just died to Krugs.
No, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Can you repeat that?
He died to Krugs because he felt like it.
I don't get it.
Oh, right. Well, he died. Well, Faker is going in. Let's see what Cuz can do about it as the paranoia comes down. I think Doctom's dying, ladies and gentlemen. Jonas Strong didn't even need to zoom out, although Doctom able to sidestep. He survived! It is such huge character development here as it's now Rift Herald being used to try and get Oner out of trouble, and it's going to work just fine. That was pretty cute. All of T1 will survive, and we've got the Rift Herald coming out one more time, looking to wander down the mid lane. They're not going to get a whole lot of value for it, but it keeps the Nocturne up, and that is enough value for Shelly.
That is the most Doran thing I have ever seen.
Yeah, did you see that? He died to Krugs because he felt like it.
Only truly great.
Oh dear, Peter. He does have an unbreakable will. He's looking to try and turn things around. He flashes out of the way of the Shuriken, and he needed to. And T1 are just taking this Otacon towards the top side of the map. Cuz we're going to come over. He's got BDD in tow. Oh, God. Okay, well, let's see whether Cuz can get in there. Of course, there's a job, and he can travel a lot of distance. As Doran going on over. They do manage to take it down. Cuz goes in maybe a little bit too late, and the Deadly Flourish comes on through. But Keria is already dead. Cuz getting taken down lower and lower as they get in, but Doctom still goes down. Doran in trouble. He will be taken out, but not before he gets his stake. And now Oner coming on in. BDD not able to get out of the way, and that is another one. Gumayusi cleans up, and T1 just watching KT circling this drain, looking to see whether they can fully flush it this time.
That's the whole sequence as Doran in a nutshell. Goes down to Krugs. Then TP's top, finds a big play, takes down Doctom out of the fight, and does enough damage before he goes down. As Cuz just a little bit too late on that flag and drag. The fight looks relatively close because of the amount of damage BDD has available, but they can't actually get on top of Guma, and then here the attempt to save Doctom doesn't quite work out.
Yeah, the snip coming in just in time.
He does so much damage.
Before that headbutt comes in, yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's the Gwen. And then Guma, this is what he loves doing on this Jhin, providing support from afar. T1, some big wins there, and it all goes back to, so Doran died on Krugs, and it was so obvious KT was desperately trying to force, and they just couldn't find an angle. T1 was proving too slippery.
Yeah.
Because if T1 would not have escaped those fights, and KT would have found an angle, that could have been game losing, right? Otacon was up, that could have been the comeback angle as...
All right, Doran going in. Circle is on cooldown, but Peter not going to be too worried about the deadly flourish.
Tickles.
Yeah, Pulverize not going to connect as Keria gets over the wall.
They need this, Atlas. I think they need this badly.
Well, Cuz is still on it, but Faker looking for that flank angle. The control ward is going to spot him. Vision going down into this brush, multiple wards coming on in, but the control ward's certainly working out here for KT.
So much damage.
This is the charm. And just watch for the deadly flourish. Doran dashing forward, finds that snip, and there are the curtains. Gumayusi just making sure that they are unable to get anywhere near this, but that is going to be the pickoff onto Keria. The auto is in the air and BDD is able to lock it down. Now he gets another charge. Gumayusi taking a bit of damage. The Nocturne is the one that secures this dragon for T1 though. And now T1 look for the re-engage. The hail of arrows is from the grave as the Nocturne, the Jhin, the damage is coming through, and Faker with the perfect execution going to help lock down this Jarvan, cuz nothing he can do. And T1, they are just going from strength to strength.
There's only two ways this comp looks, and for T1, this is the one they were aiming for. Once you're fed enough, you can just go in on every single one of these plays. Guma is on Fred. Doran is just snipping to his heart's content. And Oner, every single ult feels like it's been a huge hit.
Yeah. And it's 4-0-4 troubles not found for Gumayusi after a game number 1 that was looking the opposite of that. He is just flying high on his Jhin. And we have to remember, the Jhin was their second pick, right? This is T1 being rewarded for choosing the right champions, the draft working out for them beautifully. And this setup, we said, look out for the deadly flourish. Well, Peter got caught by that one. And yeah, Keria goes down, but it doesn't matter. T1 had him exactly where they wanted him.
They have to use so much. If they get the dragon, maybe that's worth. If Perfect holds his ult a little bit longer, but he doesn't get any value out of it. And yeah, Dokdam really gets to play the game, guys. This Varus pick, the prio on it, it makes sense, but I think that the T1 draft completely invalidates it, particularly now that we've gotten to this point. And now, I believe in roller coasters, but really, I don't. Yeah. I think this one needs to go back in maintenance. This one is not.
I mean, we can see that T1, they're not really about roller coasters. They're for like easy, just up and to the right. Let's just cruise towards winning more, and then winning the game. And that is what it's looking like at this point in time. Currently an 8,000 gold advantage, but with the amount of map control that they have, T1 just looking in all of the control. Baron has been around for about a minute so far this game. KT gonna have to be worried about that being snuck away very, very quickly. Like, if Oner and Doran like hang out around the Baron pit for like more than a couple of minutes, KT need to be worried that it's just gone.
Yeah, it'll go down very, very quickly. Now, T1 also starting to get these Drakes. And Mountain Drake, when you're ahead, I think just feels amazing as Doran.
Okay,
they're trying to collapse.
Yeah, getting that flank angle as Doran almost kills Perfect before anything happens as BDD continues to be the only one with kills on his team. The trade for the Baron looking to come in as Dokdam. Unfortunately, he was on vision of the enemy team. The Shuriken backflip comes through and Faker is going to be able to lock that one down as KT. Looking to try and answer still. Peter is in position now, but another deadly flourish can hold the cow in position.
They got to try and find a fight.
Yep.
Now that Doran is dead, but I don't think they're going to get one. T1 disengages again.
They do stop the Baron, so I guess there is that.
It's a trade-up, technically, for KT. I mean, Dokdam is not really playing the game. Oh, Faker, he got caught on the flank. They know he's behind them.
Oh, this is, it could be a good angle, though, as he goes into the mist. Peter does have an unbreakable will. And now they're looking to try and turn this one. The spell shield just doesn't quite work there from Oner as he gets over the wall. He's inside the Cataclysm. The Pulverize, no, it's the grand entrance from Keria that locks him down. There's the Pulverize, but it's too late, and it does not do anything. BDD, though, he's got a really cool hat, and he's got some resets. Gumayusi is Captain Jack, though. He cleanses it, and he's able to get the triple kill here for T1. They're looking for a Baron, and I don't think KT are coming back in this one.
And despite BDD's heroics, not going to be enough. T1 are bringing us to a certain 1-in-1 here. Wow, KDA is ruined already. Might as well try, right? Look for the Guma, because there's no jungler.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
There was only a 4th shot on Jhin, which ends up being enough, but
yeah,
also,
that probably does more than Smite.
Yeah, I'm sure as soon as they started this, Guma's like, guys, someone match him, someone. I know how this goes.
Yeah, you
I've
don't
seen this
Guma
movie
the
before.
Guma.
And here, I'm like, do they invest too much into killing Dogdom? Ends up being fine, even though they throw Keria's ultimate into him. Because, as well as Oner's, because Oner doesn't really have a cooldown on his ult. I want you to look at how fast that times out. And then here, look how long it takes to actually kill him. It's kind of insane as a...
In the meantime, we've got another engage here from Oner, who oh my god, okay, Gumayusi, those bullets are doing a little bit too much as they know exactly where KT's bread spotted. It's BDD, and he is just going to get obliterated. That is Oner once again, like his scoreline must be absurd right now. Yeah, 7-2-8, not too bad. We're putting that in the pros column. Gumayusi as well, he's legendary, 8-0-6 on the chin as T1 are pushing up this bottom lane. And it is all over but the Cryon, and the Cryon is about to ensue as this Nexus is very close to dead. And we're going to have a best of 3 for all the marbles on this road to MSI here in Busan. As Perfect able to dash cannon his way out of the Deadly Flourish, but I just don't think that that's going to be enough to save anything. All right, KT still desperately trying to hold on to their base. They have 2 inhibitor turrets left available. But yeah, it is a 12,000 gold lead. Just north of that, perhaps.
Yeah, they are still technically in this game, Atlas.
Yeah,
but
they're on the rift.
Technically.
Yes. As Oner's taken a lot of damage. Wow.
That's kind of insane.
Yeah, with only 2 deaths to his name at the same time.
And then Guma is the lowest, which is kind of cool. And I mean, we can talk about this replay, but we don't really need to, guys. It's a 12K cool.
Yeah.
They can take any fight they want. I want to talk a little bit more about how this game played out, right? Because in game number 1, what we saw was T1 overloading sites early, trying to ensure that they got leads on their individual members, and then using those leads in an attempt to set up objectives. But the objectives would mostly take KT, and KT's team fighting was just way better. In this game number 2, they're opting even more into that strategy, right? Like, we're going really ham on our solo laners, and really anything else is... guys, this...
Okay, Eba Pulverize, they're going to see whether they can kill the Nocturne, who just turns the lights out. The quickness getting so much value, and KT, they haven't been able to take down Oner. He's still alive! As BDD just goes golden to watch him regen his health bar. Yeah, that's called Oner catching the kitchen sink and throwing it back at KT, and KT falling over. Doran, he might die, but I mean, right now KT are doing about as much work as the Krugs this game. And he doesn't even fall down. That's going to be it, guys. T1 going to even out this series here in game number 2. And this is the T1 everyone wanted to see here in this road to MSI at Busan. A best of 3 now for all the marbles.
And that's a KT scoreboard if I've ever seen one.